Okay, this is recognition for a somber day in Warren, but it's to recognize people that did a great job. I'm going to turn it over to Vice President Cohen.
Thank you. So good evening, folks. And again, welcome to our council meeting. You know, in September 2nd of 2021, we had a very traumatic event that occurred in the town of Warren, and multiple folks were involved, multiple agencies were involved. So on behalf of the town council of the town of Warren, we would like to just recognize the different agencies that were involved. And it was the Warren Police Department, the Warren Fire Department, and the Bristol Police Department. So if I could ask those three chiefs to please come up, we would just like to give you these certificates of recognition. We have Chief Borges from the Warren Police Department. We have Chief Lynch from the Bristol Police Department, and we have Chief Silvera from the Chief Souza. I'm sorry, Jim, geez. From the Warren Fire Department. So Chief Borges, on behalf of the Warren Town Council, thank you for your years of service and on that extensive day. Chief Lynch from the Bristol Police Department, thank you very much. And Chief Souza, thank you very much. Scott Major McNally would have been here. He's out of town. He was an intricate part of the event that occurred. I've talked to Chief Lynch. We're going to make arrangements to get him something one day next week. And I know you have members of your agency that are up here. If they want to come down, please, we'd like to have a little opportunity. Our town manager is going to take a photo. So gentlemen, please come on down. The whole month really is, yeah. The month of May is Law Enforcement Appreciation. Next month starts the National Police Week. They were already down in Newport this past weekend, if I'm being correct. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah. He's, where are we going to stand? How's the school going? No, get over here. Get over here. Yeah. I think, no. You want the reflection. Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for training. Yes, get that mic out there. Thank you. Again, thank you, Chief. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have interviews for open positions. We have an opening on the Conservation Commission. Unfortunately, we have no applicants. So if anybody's out there in the audience or in TV land that would be interested in serving on any of these boards where there's a position, please sign up and come help us out. We need help. We can't do it all. The next opening is on the Economic Development Board. We have 2 alternate positions available, yet no applicants. We have the Planning Board. We have 1 alternate position available. We have 1 applicant, but I've been informed that applicant cannot make it this month, so we are going to continue it to the June meeting. The Warren Voluntary Historic Committee, 1 alternate position available, no applicants. Warren Recreation Board, 1 position available, no applicants. Okay, moving along, we're on to the minutes. First up, we have the Town Council April 11th minutes. Any corrections?
Make a motion to approve.
The motion, do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, now moving along to the consent agenda. P1 and P2, does anybody want to pull one, or do we want to pass it as a consent agenda? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, next, we have an ordinance 01. This will be the first reading, and it has to do with the garbage and trash pricing. Would you like to come up and give us a brief rundown on the changes?
Good evening. Pretty straightforward. We're just trying to change it so that it's more in line with the ability to change it. If our prices go up, we're seeing that prices are going up across the board. And as it stands now, if something changes, we have to wait 2 months before that's going to take place. So we're trying to set it in place so that we have the ability to change it if need be. And changing one of the days where it says Fridays for pickup to Thursdays because we didn't want Thursdays.
Any questions from the council?
So change the prices if
So
necessary?
that it's basically taking the prices out of the ordinance and putting it as we'll set the prices yearly as the prices come into us. Because right now it's set in there with the prices. So we're trying to remove the prices from the ordinance so that yearly we can revisit this.
So on an annual basis?
Yep.
Right,
Thanks.
and actually, we could do it quicker if something really spiked, because it would be more of an administrative change.
Okay.
Instead of having to go for the 2 readings in the ordinance.
I had a long discussion with someone who was upset about our increase in fees. And I've looked at the numbers always, and we don't really make any money at the transfer station, do we?
No,
That's what I thought. And we basically pass on the cost as it goes up at the state.
correct. I mean, anytime the state increases their price, they have in the last 2 years consistently, and we have not. So
And isn't it safe to say our transfer station that we're allowing people to use is strictly a service? That there are other communities that are closing down their transfer stations because there's really no advantage.
correct.
So I wanted to make sure here from Austin. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I just, for a point of clarification, so 01, the garbage, trash and refuse ordinance will no longer have specific prices attached to each of the services. Those will be done separately on an annual basis. And then later on in the agenda, we'll discuss what those new prices will be. So this will just be a basic list of services that we
Correct.
offer.
Yeah, it'll keep the same tiers, but it won't put the price to it
Okay.
so that we can address that.
Okay,
Actually, I have a question for the solicitor. I just read this and it kind of contradicts what I said. It does say new fiscal year. Should we have some type of a clause in there? Or when necessary? So in other words, we can do it other than beginning of every year. Say if all of a sudden the cost of getting rid of freons goes through the roof, we would have to wait till the next year to do it. Is there a way we could, for the second reading, put some type of a clause in there?
Will do.
Okay, that's good. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have petitions. And this is going P1 and P2 passed. We're going to P3. And this is a request to use the town land. Parker, how you doing?
Good, I'm well. Thank you, folks.
Give us a little idea what
So-
you're gonna do.
So basically, as this honorable council knows, my passion is my hobby farm, which I rescue neglected and abused animals. I live at 5 Country Road, and the property directly behind me, the town owns. I believe it's Green Acres, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pasture. And I'm looking for permission to graze my animals on that. Basically, we'll look at a couple of mini horses. I have a couple of dwarf goats. And the only thing that's between my property and the town's property is a stone wall. I'm looking for permission to let them graze there, not year round, just when the weather's fair, just to offset my feed cost. I'd have no structures on it. The only thing I would require is, which I have 2 watering containers, like tubs, livestock tubs. And then I just fence in a small area, maybe 50 by 50 with a low impedance livestock fence. So they don't obviously, and they would be monitored by myself every day. And all I'm looking to do again is just to utilize the grazing. And I hope you folks will allow me to do that.
Has the solicitor's office looked at the?
Yes, Mr. President, we had an opportunity to take a look at what is being proposed here. Our recommendation would be if the council chooses to approve this, a license would probably be best. There's a couple of benefits such as it would not give them interest in that real estate property. It would also allow the town to control it and put regulations in place, just in case something doesn't go well. It's also not assignable, meaning he has permission and only him. And finally, if you do decide to do a license, certainly would want an indemnification clause and insurance policy that the trust would have to okay prior to.
That's kind of my thinking too. Yeah, thinking of it like being like a zoning application. Yeah.
Correct.
I was sent a note from a member of the Conservation Commission citing that this land was purchased with the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act.
Yeah.
And that it needs approval of the Secretary of Interior to change this. And am I misreading this?
So there's certain restrictions with land and conservation funding, and we'd have to check the state's guide plan. If it's included in the state guide plan as a permissible use, then we don't need to request anything special. It's just we would notify DEM just to let them know, like we did, the same funds were used for the community garden space. So all we had to do is notify them of what we were doing. They agreed that it was in conformance with the state guide plan, and they went forward.
Right, I'm not opposed to this at all. I think it's
Yeah.
adequate use, but
Yeah,
I just want to make sure because I was sent this directly.
absolutely. I totally agree. So whatever is needed on my part,
If the council agrees to go forward with the license, I would say we refer it to the solicitor for review, to come up with the wording for the license. And also for either the town manager or the solicitor's office to verify that what we can do it based on the conservation money that was spent on it. If that's the way the council wants to go.
I think we should only do it by
We could do it an annual license, yeah.
that's what I mean, in case there's an issue.
And to keep the Conservation Commission copied on all of these communications, so they're aware of what's happening.
So I'll make a motion to approve the petition pending verification through the solicitor's office and have the solicitor report back to us at our,
With the licensing
With the license.
and the
Yeah.
reference whether or not it's allowed by the.
I have one more question. And you said that it would be restricted to him or open to the public?
That license, in other words, he couldn't designate anybody else to do exactly what he's asking. That license is for him specifically. It's for those animals specifically. It's not signable is what I use.
But the property is still open to the public.
Correct. And we can put those restrictions in that license and have it prepared for the council, just in case in terms of even a clause to revoke it. In other words, if something is a bite of some sort or something going on that the council has some type of authority to bring him back in and question him on what's going on over there.
So move.
We have a motion to approve pending review and it's gonna come back to us to actually issue the license, so.
Correct.
Yeah,
So I
I'll
guess
see you
the
next
motion
month.
would be to instruct them to
Yeah.
proceed with drafting the license and making sure that it's okay, and then they can come back for that.
and whatever is needed for me, just get a hold of me.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay, next we have P4. I get confused with your double-sided printing. This is a request for a vitulin license from Family Grill LLC. Please come forward and give us a little rundown on what you're looking to do.
Hello, everybody. My name's Holly Lee. My husband and I are hoping to open a little diner right on Metacom next to the Cigar Lounge. It's just going to be a breakfast and lunch diner.
Is this your first time applying for this with us?
Yes.
Is it? Okay, sorry. I thought there was another one that. another diner.
Well, we missed last month's meeting because I thought it was Wednesday.
It wasn't that one, but okay, thank you. Yeah, nine. Yeah,
I remember.
so thanks.
Any questions from the council?
I was like, what are you gonna be?
7-2.
72?
Yep.
You didn't need zoning approval because it's permittable in that district.
We did get a special use.
You did get a
license.
special use.
Yes,
Okay, and did they put your hours 7 to 2?
correct.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
second.
I have
Ooh.
a couple of questions pending our approval. When will you be ready to open?
We're hoping by the end of June at the latest.
Okay, and so I'm sorry, remind me your name? Kath-
Holly Lee,
Holly, is the number that is here, the cell phone number here, is that a way I can get in touch with you? It's to be included in our Merchants Association map, and I just want to make sure that we support you as much as we
the
can.
0053 ending number and the
Yes.
ending, yes,
Be careful,
Okay.
be careful, you're on YouTube.
that's why I said the first.
Yes.
four. Last four, I knew.
Do we have a 5-second blank button? No?
I'll call you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have P5. This is to transfer a victualling license from MCS Lemonade to For Love of Friends LLC. Is there a representative here? Please come forward.
Wearing the Dell's shirt. You kidding me? She's got that.
We all came in our dolls here.
Yeah.
So it basically seems like you're taking over the Dell's location and you're going to continue pretty much with the same thing.
Correct.
Okay, any questions from the council?
Well, you're asking for an entertainment license and a food MFE permit. So I mean, should we continue on with that?
I don't know, let's ask the solicitor. Should we do all three of these at once? They're all for the same location, 5, 6, and 7.
You good? Yeah, we should.
Okay. All right, so we got the regular lemonade pot. Why don't you give us an idea on what you'd like to do for the entertainment? What's your plans for that?
So I'm an experienced event planner, and I used to plan events at the bar that I used to own in Riverside. And we were just looking to support local artists, musicians, no more than 2 people performing at once. We close at 10, so we wouldn't be, I don't know what the rules are in town. We would like to know those so that we know when the cutoff would be. Our neighbors are thrilled about it, both the Taco Box and Christie's Cocktails. And then occasionally we would do pop-ups. So like a paint night or something for the kids. We got in touch with a mobile establishment that does crafts for kids. So have them come and do that kind of thing. So those would be the types of events we
So
could do.
this would be in the parking lot in the back there.
In our gravel parking lot,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
the
yeah,
rock parking lot, yes.
So not inside.
No,
Okay.
there's not enough space inside at all.
Did
It
you
would
make
be,
bigger?
no, it would be outside in the gravel area.
Cool.
Okay, any questions from the council on that?
Would you stone in Riverside?
What's that?
What bar in Riverside?
Oh, Union Bar and Burrito.
Oh, Chief has a question.
Myself and Mr. Glenn, to see the plan of the outside layout, you know, can sketch something out, what it's gonna be, where people are gonna be sitting and how it's. gonna be
Sure.
set up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if we approve it here, we'll make that part of the condition for it to be issued. In other words, we can approve, but it won't be issued by the clerk until you provide them what they need.
Okay. Absolutely.
And they'll update you on our noise ordinance, so it keeps it peaceful within, you know, that part of
Perfect.
the community.
Thank you.
And the third item is for a mobile food establishment permit. Give us a little rundown on that.
So as of right now, we have the 1973 truck that's parked in the lot that we'll be utilizing and driving around. It is an older truck, so we won't be driving it a ton. We just acquired a Sprinter van that's going to be wrapped and utilized for driving around as well. And then we have 5 push carts that'll be in various locations.
Okay, so it's not, when I first read that, I thought you were gonna be bringing food trucks in. No.
No, under the entertainment license, the only thing I would do is maybe support a local chef or cook and have
Yeah.
them come and cook, but
Okay.
no food trucks or anything like that.
Okay, any questions?
That's just for us to go out.
So the push carts, they wouldn't be on site then?
So my understanding is that they can be on private property. And then we are grandfathered into Cold State Park. So we will be over there. I know it's not Warren, but we'll be in Cold State Park. And then the bid for the beaches and the parks is coming up, I think, tomorrow. So we'll be bidding on that as well.
Great.
Any other questions?
No. Motion to approve?
All three?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve all P5, P6, and P7. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, next moving on to P8. This is for another vitrilling license, and this is from Tracy Woodard, DBA Tracy's Cream and Sugar, 458 Main Street. Please come forward. Hello,
Hi, how are you?
good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Give us a little quick rundown on what you're looking to do.
Yeah, so I currently have, I don't know which direction I'm facing, but I have the Perfect Sweet Shop next door to here. And I'm looking to kind of expand my business. It's going to be conceptually different, but it's also me. So it's like, so I'm looking to open, it's going to be a coffee ice cream shop with bagels, donuts, that kind of thing. It's where Naked Foods R.I. was, and I'm not making any structural changes or anything. I'm just going to be moving the ice cream from the Perfect Sweet Shop over there. And is there any other information that you need?
Motion to approve.
Are you
Second.
going to be baking and making your bagels and muffins and
So,
making all the
we're
product?
going to be doing it's like muffins and stuff like that. The bagels are not ours, but they're made in the Bronx, so it's kind of exciting. And then we're going to be getting, having Need Donuts from Providence, and so we'll be making some of the baked goods, but we won't be making everything. We're going to be doing a lot of local support, like we have Borealis Coffee and so forth. So we're going to be trying to kind of integrate some local businesses in.
So all of your retail sales will be happening then on the Main Street location. Will you be doing retail sales also at the Perfect? Or
I will
to do-
continue to do the retail as at Perfect Sweet as well. It just
Okay.
gives me a little bit more space in there to do my desserts and have put more tables back in.
All right.
So,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Good
thank
luck.
you. Have a good night.
Okay, moving on to P9. This is a request for a one-day entertainment license. This is for some fireworks. Please come forward. This is from Autumn Williams. Please come forward and give us a little rundown. Okay, what you're looking to do.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you so much for your time. We, back in 2019, my great grandfather, who I never met, unfortunately passed away and was never found. He was recovered 75 years later and brought home. And we wanted to celebrate his memory and his life by showing that we're all connected together and we're all in unison. So I decided to take it upon myself to create a firework display, partnering with Ocean State Pyrotechnics in honor of his memory. So we're requesting today to have an entertainment license in regards to the show. We've hired Ocean State Pyrotechnics to handle all of the fireworks and parts on that aspect. But we just want to make sure we're doing everything right.
Okay, it looks like it's only like a half an hour show, so.
It's going to be about 15 minutes. Yeah,
Okay, any questions from the council?
What time would it go off?
it would be
9
around, it
o'clock.
would be 9 o'clock. Yep.
9 o'clock, that's it.
I guess I have a question just about this
Oh, yeah.
very thorough application that you've provided here, and the story is just wonderful. What is this
It's on
list?
my dad's birthday, because my grandfather wasn't supposed to be on the mission.
Mhm.
Where
was he serving?
So he was serving he was out of Italy, but he was part of the bombardment group that went over Romania and did an oil refinery. He was on vacation, wasn't supposed to be home, but he knew that there was probably a letter from my Nana and he wanted to know whether my dad had been born yet. So he went home early on vacation because he was at the base. They put him on this mission. And he saved all 9 of the crew members, but went down with the plane. And my Nana obviously struggled because she didn't want to give up hope that, you know, he didn't make it. But the Army, at the time, because there was no Air Force, said that he went down in Romania and it ended up being Bulgaria. And we met this historian who uncovered things, and he's like, if all of the guys ended up in POAs in Bulgaria, how come it's Romania? And they talked to this woman who's actually still alive in Turin, and she was the one who found the body. And we have his wedding band and his rosary cross. And they brought him home in 2019, and we just figured my dad would have been 80 on August 12th. And this would be a really great, memorable way to remember both of them. So that's why we were asking for that.
Question? Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this?
Do your neighbors know what you're planning?
The
Yes,
neighbors know all of
They're
it.
all in.
They're all in support.
Yep.
They have a countdown on.
It seems like all the licensing is in
Yeah.
order and
Oh, somebody,
is
oh,
there
we
somebody
have,
back there? Okay.
please come forward.
Yeah.
Excuse me, would you like a Nels card there?
This. So you, so this was your grandfather, his great grandfather?
Yes,
And it was the Army Air Corps, because you are correct, the Air Force didn't come until later. It
exactly.
was the Army Air Corps,
Yeah.
as me being an Army veteran. So,
Yeah.
yes,
He was
we
in
have
the
somebody else?
400
Well, it's just the chief,
bombardment.
yeah, it's gonna be contingent on both of your approval, so, yeah.
I have reviewed the site and spoke to state pyrotechnics, and I'm coupled with their plan.
Okay.
They have, weather dependent. Like a basic well.
Okay, good.
You do have a rain date?
Yes.
Yes.
It could be.
It would be the 11th,
Okay.
but we're just hoping that doesn't.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Pending. motion
Pending the
to approve,
approvals.
Pending issuance,
Yes.
once both chiefs sign off.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Good luck.
Thank
good luck.
Very good presentation.
Thank you.
Excellent
If
job.
there was something I could sign, I would borrow your pen to sign it, but I don't. And I can't sign it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
luck.
everybody.
We'll see you on the 11th or the 12th.
Awesome.
Okay, next we have P10 through P14, and there is an attorney, Matthew Lyons. Is Matthew Lyons here? Please come forward. And this is for MFEs for 1, 2, 3, 4 different mobile food establishments.
4 trucks and a cart.
Okay,
So good evening.
Good evening.
So these are existing fairly successful trucks, which run out of Equidneck mostly. You have, I think, 4 offhand in Newport. I'm sorry, 3 in Newport, 2 in Portsmouth. And they have, I guess I can just go one at a time or just give the general, and if you guys have questions.
give the general, I mean, I think we're all
Yeah.
pretty much familiar with, you know, they, obviously, they all have their state licenses.
Yep.
Okay.
They've each been running for several years. You know, no complaints, they're active. They're at Newport, Middletown, Portsmouth, South Kingstown, Providence. And then each one has its own little pockets that it'll also go into. But so my role in this, in case there's any confusion or question there, I work with Audrain Hospitality, which kind of works with a bunch of different food trucks, vendors, locations, puts on events, catering licenses, restaurants, also down in Newport. And so that's why I'm here on behalf of all 5. They're each separate. They have their own managers, operation teams, accounting teams. So
Questions from the council?
Seems
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and assuming that they will now be on our list and
Mhm.
they will be available to participate in any of the
that's the plan.
upcoming concerts and events going on in
Mhm.
town. So some impressive looking.
Okay, we have a
Establishments.
motion to approve P10 through P14 for the mobile.
Motion to approve P10 through P14. for
Yeah.
approval.
Motion, second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have P15. This is a request for a tattoo license from 1001 Trouble Tattoo, Charity Enos. Okay.
Get a little, yeah, come a little closer. What was your first name, please?
Fred,
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
you too.
And this is actually, I just want to clarify, this is for P15 through P18. And I believe this came up once we realized that not only the parlor needs to be licensed, but everyone that practices there does as well. So he's here representing all the people
Okay.
that work there.
That's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I have 5 artists that all need to be licensed. That's pretty much it.
They're all already state licensed.
That's right. Yeah.
And they've been with you for varying times.
Around 3 to 5 years-ish, I would say. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Seems like a good team in there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We
Yeah.
have a good crew. So.
Just a sort of a technicality, P16, Danny Ryan doesn't have a check mark next to the state tattoo license. Maybe that's just, oversight.
We can make it
Yeah.
contingent on verifying licensing from the state.
It's fine.
Okay.
Put that in form of a motion?
Yeah. I mean, Mr. President, the ordinance also requires that the police chief give his opinion as to the good moral character of the tattoo.
Okay, so we can make it contingent upon,
He's gonna give his opinion right now.
okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, my motion would be to approve.
Approve pending
contingent upon
verification.
the,
Good. We have a motion. Do we have? a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, Fred.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Got a lot of Ps today, huh?
Yeah, we're last one. We're at the end.
P19, request for an annual kennel license, Margate Kennel and Terry Casal.
That's right. I'm Terry South.
Hi, Terry.
Run down
Hi.
what you're looking to do here.
Well, it's actually a renewal. I've had
Okay.
this license for 8 to 10 years. I
Okay.
do boarding in the home.
Okay.
So it's a small business. It might be 1 or 2 dogs at a time. It's only been 1 so far at a time. And I'd like to continue doing that. I have, let's see. What else? We have a fenced in yard. I don't know what else you might need to know at this time.
Any issues?
I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
the chief if we had any issues. No issues?
Good. Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck.
You're welcome. Good luck.
We have correspondence. Is there anything in here that you'd like to pull out of correspondence?
Well, I guess in keeping with my tradition now of just bringing light to the now 2 additional communities who are opposing sensible gun legislation, I'll just say that I am in opposition to their opposition to the gun legislation, and we can leave it at that. We don't need to discuss it any further, but the towns of Exeter and Little Compton apparently enjoy their guns more than the sanctity of life. So we'll just can leave it at that. And I think we should also pull the we need to C9, the resolution from the Bristol Warren Regional School District in support of the secure storage notification for states with storage or child access prevention laws. I think it's important that we acknowledge that this is a really smart thing to do
So
and
did
that
you
we
want to
support
pull
that.
the other ones, or you just wanted to?
I needed to say that, but C9, we should actually pull and support that.
Oh, so we have C9 out, and this is basically the storage notification for a safe storage for children access prevention laws. I think it's a good idea. Any discussion from the
No.
council? So do we want to have a motion to send out a letter in support of this? I guess this would be the resolution in support. No, this is a resolution. This is a resolution that they passed, so I would say a resolution in support of their resolution. Would that be the proper term?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Coming up on old business. Okay, so the first one is approval of a contract for the public art project at the town wharf. Who wants to speak on that, Kate?
Sure. We've talked about this before. The Arts and Cultural Commission went through a process to select an artist and a concept to make the restrooms down at the town wharf a little more attractive. And the artist has requested a contract in order to execute that project. So I would ask, you have a draft of that contract. It also has been submitted to the solicitor for review. So if there's any changes needed there, I would request they make a conditional upon their approval. Other than that, I think it's going to be a great project.
Looking for the,
There's no signature line.
no, I'm actually looking for a total cost.
I believe it's 3,800.
Yeah, there is a cost. I did notice that somewhere for sure.
Yeah, it was not to exceed 4,000.
Yeah, it's about
Yep.
30.
They have
4,000, yeah.
Yeah, 4,000, sorry, yeah.
Yep, here it is.
And that's, we do have those funds. It's not an unexpected cost.
Okay, any questions from the council?
No, very,
Motion approved.
very thorough.
Pending solicitor review.
Yeah.
Correct, it's two parts, that we just have small things like farm state laws, and also that this.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve pending solicitor approval. We have a second,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I just want to note that Erin Thomas is in the audience from the Warren Arts and Cultural Commission, and thanks to her for coordinating all of this.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Aaron.
Okay, next we have old business 2, discussion and action regarding Orchard Avenue traffic. Pete.
Hi, my name is Lorraine Delesio and I live at 7 Orchard Avenue.
Okay.
A few years ago, I asked one of that at the council, not this one here, before that week, they put a stop sign. 10 years ago, my son came to live with me. He's blind. And they were racing up and down the street just like they do now. And we were fortunate enough to get a sign that said blind, reduce your speed or whatever. But now it gets to a point where during the school, you can't even get out of your driveway. In the lunch times, I don't know if the school changes in the lunchtime or class changes, I don't know what it is, but they're coming down there at lunchtime, they're coming down at 7 o'clock in the morning, they're coming back at 2:30, 3:30. They won't even let you out of the driveway. They don't even have the common sense to be courteous. We did have a sign, the blinking sign, and that lasted for about a week. I don't know, no one ever bothered to do the sign slow down or anything. People are, I know that they're in a hurry, but you know something? The people that live there should have a right to go across the street, either get your mail or go out. They said the sign was more needed on Childs Street, so they pulled the sign after a week. Even the police, I hate to say it, they have no regard for anybody. They were going just as fast as the other people were going and nobody ever got stopped. And now,
You know, we made some changes. We kind of blocked it off at certain times of the day. Has that made it any better?
somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Most people, they don't want to come. I don't know why. They just want the other people that are old or, see, let them go fight their battles. People don't care. I see a lot of little kids still going walking to school. That's their neighborhood. They have a right to walk on that street, just like the car's got a right to go on the road. And I know personally, my son had a CNI dog. That protected him. The sign is still there. It says 10 miles an hour. Nobody goes 10 miles an hour. It's really, I know he's my son and he's blind, too bad. Well, you know what? It's not too bad. He has a right to be there and he has a right to walk the street. We just lost a CNI dog. You think that people care? They say, hey, what are you gonna do with that pictures you're taking over there? Because we don't want them going nowhere. They threaten, people threaten you because they want to make that shortcut. They don't want to go by the street, go around the school because they're in a hurry. Well, we're not in a hurry, but we're not in a hurry to die either.
Can I make a suggestion?
I'm sorry.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have we ever thought about not allowing through traffic during school hours? Did the traffic commission ever come up with that recommendation?
I know I didn't say that last time, but what I've been doing is I've been leaving the barricades there all day, all night until Friday at 3 o'clock. And then we removed the barricades at 3, we put them back at 7, and they've been staying there. They were there Saturday, they were there Sunday. Sometimes because we forgot, but so the recommendation that we're talking to the fire chief is that they threw my barricades in the bushes. So anything that's gonna be movable, they're gonna damage. So
They're gonna get up and move it.
So what other districts do with throughways during school hours is they don't allow school traffic to go through those districts at all. But I don't know if that would be the best course of action for that area because Asylum would get so clogged up, or would your manpower be able to alleviate that?
And before I came here last month, we do have an officer on Child Street.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Yes, I do.
he is alleviating traffic, so that has been working to this point as far as people not coming back on Orchard Avenue.
Sure. I mean, so like, not to say that they're challenged, it's just the way that it's set up over there. Everybody flowing out with the buses and the folks that are dropping children off at UCole and the middle school. They're all coming out onto Child Street, and they're either going to want to go east or they want to go west, depending on where they need to go for the rest of their day. And they're using your lane of travel. Right? So what I'm recommending is if they weren't to be allowed to go through there at all. No, that's fine. Yep. I have a little ear clog too, so I'm having I sound like a little froggy.
Then you can worry about it.
I'm close. I'm getting there.
Yeah, well, so.
You look good.
Why can't we make it a cul-de-sac? I still don't understand. I mean, the fire hydrant's on one side, so what?
That's the only fire hydrant for the whole parking lot.
Right, but the parking lot would be right there. We were talking about putting a.
So
curb.
no through traffic, but that'd be no through traffic for anybody, local traffic only.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I don't want it too complicated.
Hang on one second. Are you finished?
I was just curious if the traffic commission ever did consider local traffic only, no through traffic during school day, not school hours, during the school day. So that would be 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Local traffic only.
And that's one of the reasons we put it back on the agenda is we wanted to put a fixed structure as a fenced area for half of the road, but the traffic would not be able to come up.
Right, and I believe you were gonna discuss with the school to figure out if they would pay
Yes.
for it or they would
Yeah,
work
we would
along.
also
Yeah.
speak with the PW. director.
Because that probably would be the best course of action. However, the folks in the neighborhood also have to realize that that pertains to them too, local traffic only. So anybody coming to, it's local traffic only. Sometimes you end up getting caught in that web.
They can go up, they can go.
Yeah,
If you're going to somebody's house there.
yes,
So
yes.
You're allowed.
if they go to school,
No, not going to the school. Yeah,
it's mainly like schools open, because they don't want to wait. on
I know. No, I know.
They
No, I
want
know.
the
Yeah.
shortcut. I mean, I know, even my grandson said, I said, I don't care. You go the other way, because people have a right to live on that street.
Yeah.
They pay taxes to use the road just like you do. So,
So,
I'm good.
Chief, I'm gonna ask the chief a question.
yeah, so, chief. Couldn't we assess the situation? Figure out access to the hydrant? And then put a barrier? So you,
Close the whole road area?
yeah, make it a cul-de-sac. I mean, why would you not be able to drive into the parking lot up to that hydrant or down the street up to that hydrant?
But Joe, I know I'm gonna beat you to the punch. If you go down Orchard Avenue for the fire, how are you gonna get that truck out of there?
The cul-de-sac, the parking lot's right
It'd
there.
have to be a pretty big cul-de-sac.
We need that, like, bring the water into the school, that whole side of the school, the whole parking lot, that's our source for that end of the building. The only other hydrant is across Child Street and down at the whole school and on the side of the road up at.
Well, isn't this bringing attention to the fact that we may need more than one hydrant there?
I didn't do that, we would use those other hydrants, that's the primary, that whole end of the building.
So do you recommend a new hydrant?
That hydrant
an additional hydrant. It sounds like you only have two. If God forbid there were ever an issue.
If there was another hydrant close to that end of the school on Cole Road, that's possible.
I think we should look into it. We have Hugh Cole Road, double wide. We've kept the land on the side of it in case we need additional width. I don't see why this neighborhood has to be used. I've been there. I mean, going out of there when I was in, a parent.
Can I just add one thing? Sorry to interrupt.
Well, if I could just finish, I do think that the amount of traffic going in and out of that road isn't what that road was built for.
Oh, great. Yeah, okay, great.
I definitely agree. And to Joe's point.
Come on up, please state your name.
My name's Bridget Farragon. Thank you
Okay.
for hearing us tonight. I just wanted to bring to Joe's point that this is not just during school time. Last weekend was soccer. Nobody from out of town knows that that's a 10-mile-an-hour road. The fact that the road's a hill doesn't help because they hit the hill and they're going. That speed sign isn't slowing them down, and it's not just during school time. And these guys can't be there at all times. It's ongoing.
And you live on Orchard Ave.
I live on Orchard Ave. It's an ongoing thing. This started for me when my children would walk to school and adults were flipping them off and swearing at them walking to school. That's a bit much. I don't think anybody's kid should have to go through that. And I don't want to see anyone's child hurt. In the end, that's really the biggest concern here is the speed of someone's child.
So it's not just school days. It's not just school hours.
I'm sorry.
It's not just school hours.
Sadly,
It's
it
because-
is not,
because
because
we
that
can-
field is
yeah.
used for a lot of different events. It's anytime there's an event at the school or at that field, we feel like we live next door to a stadium, and that's kind of what it's like. You are not coming and going the entire time that show's going. If I might make a suggestion, I know Chief Borges had talked about the possibility of a gate or a fence. I would request that we explore that option, just because if something, God forbid, were to happen on Orchard Avenue, it could limit the access to actually address an issue on Orchard Avenue. Whereas if you had a gate or a fence, it would block the traffic. It would be-
Look that up first time.
If you created a full cul-de-sac with a curb, then you're limiting access actually for those houses on Orchard, which I think could be a concern, given it's got a narrow width and it could be difficult to get in and out if something was going on that road.
Yeah, so even if it's just like a swinging, solid metal swinging gate that they can't throw in the bushes. That might work.
You got,
Is there-
it? You like that idea?
Is there any
I think it would
signage at the
definitely
beginning of the
help us.
street on Child Street that says not a through street? So if we did.
That
not
should be
a
the
through-
first.
If we put a not a through street, and that would maybe deter the people who don't know otherwise already and have been sort of abusing the access that way for as long as they have, but for people who are not from around here, who might be going to a practice or a game at the field there, they wouldn't even think to turn that way. So if we could get a not a through street and then block it at the end.
Would we need an ordinance to create that no through traffic, or would we be able to just do that by decree and use our brand new sign to print out the sign?
It would be an amendment to the current one, yeah.
So we would have to draft a whole new ordinance.
I think it's just an amendment what we currently have. I think we can get it somewhere with
Would it take the two readings to go through?
It would, it's an amendment, it would. Therefore, the police department would have enforcement.
I think the no through sign is helpful, but the gate is really what you need, because people ignore signs, all the time, and it would help, but
So I guess we probably should refer this back to the traffic commission. Did we get the sign machine yet, or are we still waiting for it?
This year's budget.
Yeah, we can't purchase till after July 1st.
Oh, I was gonna say, it wouldn't hurt to put a sign up, say no through traffic. If we had our own sign machine, we could just print it out, put it up, we just wouldn't be able to ticket them for doing it. Is there a possibility we could order a sign? So how's that sound? We order a no through traffic sign first. We'll refer it back to the traffic commission to look at these other,
Or not a through street. No through traffic is a little sort of,
I don't think a sign's gonna do anything.
but it could be a deterrent.
can't hurt. I agree,
I mean,
Jim.
especially people that don't know the
Yeah.
area are gonna see it, and they're gonna say, I don't wanna go down this, it's a dead end.
Knows the area, they're avoiding.
Yeah, well, I mean, What's the sign, 50, 60 bucks? So let's put up the sign, we'll get the traffic commission to look at either the cul-de-sac or the fence. Okay, anybody else in the public, Tara, come on down, please. State your name.
Oh, Tara Thibodeau. So I understand what you're saying because I live on Wheaton Street and people come down Wheaton Street like they're trying to get off of Main Street onto Water Street. And I understand your concern with the kids. My concern is as a parent also who has children at KMS and then as a recreation director who has families that utilize the field. My question is, has there been a noticeable difference with the barriers? I've seen a noticeable difference. I actually have been taking my son to school every day because of lacrosse. And I know that I utilize Orchard Ave, but no one else does.
The influx has decreased, the speed has not. That's the bottom line. That's the issue. That is the bottom line.
Oh, right. So,
And
but
no
the
stop signs posted on that street at all, which does not help, but
so I am not going to argue with you on I would say the no through sign makes a lot of sense. But I do think that there has been significant reduction of traffic on the street. I can speak for myself going there every day. I can say that I probably am the only car that is driving down when I'm driving down. It used to be that it was bumper to bumper and you couldn't, like you were saying, get out of your driveway. It was condensed. That is not the case since those barriers have gone up. So I believe those barriers have done their job. And the police department does have a police car at those barriers. So it deters anybody who thinks that they're going to come in from Hugh Cole Road and then come out Orchard Ave. Nobody is doing that. So the actions, I wanted to let you know that the actions you did take initially have had an impact. I can't speak for the speed, but I can say that there has been a great reduction. My concern with, and I did speak to the chief about it, when the football game and the soccer games are going on this week, that parking lot will fill up and there's not a parking spot to be had. And what I'm worried about, and I did tell the chief, was that people were actually parking all the way up to those horses. And so what's that? Well, right, but if there had been a situation that we had to have emergency vehicles coming into that field, which like a rescue or something, they would not have been able to get through because of the way everyone was parking with the barriers. Normally, they don't do that. They don't block the road, but they were using those barriers as a wall. So it was actually creating a safety hazard. So that would be my only concern about having something like that up during the week or the weekends when that parking lot actually is full to capacity.
But we got a lot for the traffic commission to look at.
But would a rescue or a fire truck, if there was a problem on the field, are our rescues or fire trucks taking Orchard Avenue?
They may.
But if they knew that there was a barrier there, they would go around and go the way that. So you're talking.
I think,
Again, back to the fire hydrant, you need to go that way, get to the water supply.
Right.
so I think, like I said, we're gonna refer this I think we should refer this, Tara, are we not done yet? And we're gonna refer this to the traffic commission. And would like to appoint Tara as an honorary member to the traffic, so she can represent the Parks and Recs point of view to the traffic commission.
Yes, does it come with a stipend? No.
Yeah.
And I think that we should, Chief, I think you should look at the location of the hydrant and take that into consideration. If another hydrant would offset a possible problem with the parking lot flow.
I can reach out to County Water, see if the option is there.
I'm
not sure where the main is.
I think we should know, because that is the main reason on that street access is the hydrant, so. All right, so let's try to figure it all out.
So let's have a motion to refer it to the traffic commission to come to study what we discussed here. Giving Tara a seat on the traffic commission for this issue. Sorry. And also to ask the chief to look, to contact Bristol County Board to find out what options could be for adding an additional hydrant. Can I have a motion to that effect? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Sir, may I make a point? I don't know what the agenda is. But the downstairs door is locked. To get in the elevator, you cannot get into that door.
That's the way I came up.
No, I came in that way, down.
It's locked. I came up. I tried to open the door and it was
Oh,
locked.
no, did you, from outside?
Yeah.
The outside door was locked? That's the way I came in.
Right.
Well, yeah, you can't,
That's
yeah.
the only way.
Yeah, you have to use the elevator.
You can come up 2 flights of stairs. In the back, it only goes to the first floor. You
Yeah.
have to use the elevator. You have to use the elevator from
But
the
you have
ground.
to go. Yeah, I couldn't, sir. I mean,
Okay,
I
well,
know that.
The
elevator's
in the back.
Arthur, could you go check
I
that?
was in the side.
yep, we're gonna check that right now.
Stairs. The whole stairs and the elevator is
Oh.
behind the stairs.
So I'm like trying to get the door open.
You went up the stairs.
I walked the
Yeah,
stairs.
that's it. That's only to the first floor.
All the way up. to
No,
the-
the elevator's right on the ground floor.
Want to tell
If
us
you
it's
would've-
all set?
Yeah, Arthur, it's all set. Thank you. All right, you have a good
Sorry
day.
about that. Thank you.
Okay, next, under new business, we have discussion and action regarding the Governor's Learn 365 initiative. I'm gonna give this one to Kate.
Sure. So you've probably heard about this already on the news. The governor is proposing a new initiative that he calls Learn 365 RI. The goal is to increase out of classroom learning time throughout the state. So he is hoping to increase out of classroom learning time by 1 million hours per year. He is looking to improve 3 indicators. One was test scores, one is FAFSA completion, so people who complete the financial aid forms for college, and one is attendance. So those are the 3 goals. And he's asking the municipalities to enter into these compacts to set goals. We would set our own goals internally to work with the governor's office to improve those opportunities out of the classroom. Going along with this is a $4 million request in the governor's budget that would be distributed throughout the state to help to fund programs to create these opportunities. So the request is to authorize the council president to sign the compact. And then, if the budget gets approved, then we would work to see how we could work these opportunities into some of our existing programs, or maybe create new programs, working with some of the community groups that have a direct connection to the youth in Warren. So it's not just for public school students, it's for any students who reside in the town of Warren.
Any questions from the council?
Kate, did I read somewhere that it's not in conjunction with Bristol? This is separate, would be a separate kind of a
Correct.
initiative?
Yes, they want every municipality to address this on their own. The intention would not be to partner with any other municipalities, and the intention is not to put it on the school district. It's for the municipality itself to create goals and opportunities.
And who would administer this and run this program?
So it's pretty flexible at the moment. We would create a coalition of people. Obviously, our camp program is robust and already includes some science and learning programs as part of the programming for the camp. So maybe there's an opportunity to expand those opportunities. We're also planning to work with the HES, who has a children and youth working group that's already working on ways to benefit the youth in Warren and get them engaged in these learning opportunities. So I think we have a lot of good partners that we can work with to come up with some ideas. And
We may have to hire some additional staff, possibly.
I don't think we would have enough, I don't think we'd receive enough funding to be able to hire staff. I think it would be more likely to supplement existing programs. Like I said, with the camp, maybe we can have a couple more science days, or we can get some equipment or tablets that they can use for some opportunities. Or maybe we can work with the HES and have some pop-up programs during school vacation week or that kind of thing. I don't think it would be enough to actually hire someone.
No more questions?
No.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to allow me to sign it, and just a heads up.
So moved.
That we have an appointment at 2:15 for the governor to be here, so we can sign it together tomorrow before I get any motion. So just keep that in mind.
I was gonna say, what happens if we don't want to participate in this?
There's no penalty. You just aren't eligible for the $4 million in funds.
It's a percentage of the 4 million.
Correct. So it hasn't been determined how it's going to be distributed. Most likely it'll be distributed in proportion to how many youth we have in the community.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. I'll make a motion.
Terry made the motion.
Oh, second, yeah.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 2:15, we're on tomorrow, Kate.
Thank you.
New business 2. Discussion and action regarding the extension of the Sinagro contract for sludge disposal. Kate? Or do you want Norman to speak on that?
Well, it's my favorite topic.
Okay.
Norman is here. Norman Glenn can answer technical questions you may have about sludge. I'm sure you have many, but any that you want to address right now. Sinagro is our current sludge disposal company. Their contract is up. It was a 5-year contract, which expires June 30th. This is the contract that they presented us with. And there aren't any other options.
I was just gonna ask, this is it, right?
This
It's like
Currently.
landfill.
Has the solicitor had a chance to review this contract?
All concerns, obviously, we'd like to see a 1-year contract, but this is a 3-year contract.
Okay.
The scope of work, as long as Kate's okay with it, and then, there's a couple of things definitely in their favor, for example, the governing law is Delaware. But again, I don't think the town has too much leeway with this contract.
Okay. Basically, what they're saying is they got us over a barrel.
The barrel is slow.
Plus, we're gonna start doing it
Yeah,
ourselves.
so actually, what I would like to do is obviously, if we approve this, but we gotta get rid of the sludge. But I would like to direct the manager to look into possible other places, because in case there's another problem with this place, like there has been in the past.
Are there any?
Well, I don't, that's what I was gonna ask her to look into, to find out if there are any other options besides them. In case we get into another problem with it, where they're not taking it, or in case they get into a problem where they go out of business, we should have some type of a backup.
Right, and I would appreciate that opportunity. Currently, Sinagro handles 29 out of the 39 cities and towns, so we are certainly not alone in relying on the Woonsocket facility that has been troubled. Hopefully they are in the process of remedying those problems, but as Norman can tell you, we've had a couple of shutdowns, unexpected shutdowns, that caused Norman much heartburn, and then he calls me, and then I see him on the caller ID, and then I get heartburn, so I would think that if something happens with the facility, it will be a serious emergency for most of the state. So we are certainly not alone.
And pardon the pun, but are they back up and running?
No.
No.
They're not.
Okay.
But that's much in their defense. I have not missed a load since last Tuesday.
Okay.
So they sent us a truck every day since last Tuesday. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is.
Okay. Yep.
Thank God.
Yeah. All right, can we have a motion for the Sinagro contract?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I would just say if you could conditional upon,
Yes,
Um,
additional upon, this is a
Condition on solicitor approval.
Yep.
So moved.
So we have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda, new business 3, discussion and action regarding noise remediation for the conference at Burrs Hill Park. Councilman D. Pasquale asked for this to be on the agenda, so I will turn this over to him.
Hello. I think this is a straightforward, simple request for the music to be turned down. I don't believe it's a decibel. We have an 85 decibel sound ordinance now. I think we're completely within our rights to simply say we want the volume down. I don't think the music should be amplified inside of the shell. And I don't think the drum should be amplified. And I think that would solve the problem. And I don't see that we need to do anything more than that. I think it's just a simple turn it down.
I think last month we discussed, it. I think we discussed with the Parks and Rec director, that she was gonna have them turn it down a little bit, and we were gonna discuss it after the concert, see if it went any further. Didn't we have, Kara, didn't we have that discussion last month?
It wasn't on the agenda.
The last month we talked about this, or was it 2 months ago?
Yeah, actually, we talked about it.
The agenda items.
With the agenda
specifically
items.
Wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, Sharon is here who is organizing the concerts. So if you would like her to come up and speak to it, I understand that you want to turn it down. I don't think that that's, but I'd rather have her speak to that because she is the one that has more knowledge than I do.
Okay.
Sure.
Please come down.
With that, I don't know. Is Sharon here? No. Okay, great.
So I have booked the bands and I have a sound person. And I told him it's 85 decibels and he said that he's not into making it blaring. He wants to make the music nice and that he would make it underneath the 85 decibels. But I mean, there's amps and they're just gonna turn it down.
Yeah,
But I mean,
Can I
they're
just,
full
can
band.
I just say that 85 is rather high?
Then we gotta change the ordinance. If
Well, he-
85 is too high for the concerts, and 85 is too high everywhere else, for anything.
Well,
So
it-
if you wanna change the ordinance, let's change the ordinance.
Well,
It's just, it's not that bad. I live closer than anybody here.
Okay, you are, that is, you have your opinion about your experience with the volume of the music. And there's a big group of people here as well as many others who feel that it is overly loud. And because the amplification is coming from under the band shell, which is another level of amplification, and it's directed exactly this way, people who live downtown experience it in different ways and react in different ways. So I think the notion of asking that the amplifiers be placed outside of the band shell to reduce the amount of additional amplification that happens, as well as having them turned down. And yes, taking a read after that first concert to see what people's experience are. Going through the minutia of reducing from 85 to 80, or is it 75 or whatever it is. I think we can be reasonable about this and ask your sound guy and the bands performing to make some accommodations.
In the past, have you taken a decibel reading? Was it really high?
It doesn't,
No, I'm just
because of the
curious.
wind conditions, the sound can travel at different ways given winds and.
But did they ever do any, was it extremely high? Is that what we're going against or
I'm
was
not
it?
sure we know.
That's,
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
particularly in the summer, you get a
If-
south wind.
exactly.
okay,
And Water Street and the neighborhood, it reverberates.
Right.
So what we're asking simply is an attempt.
To turn it
good
down.
attempt
okay.
To try and when the sound check guy goes, it's all set, just turn it down. That's all, just make an actual attempt. Everybody there, I feel, will have more of an experience when they're there.
Right.
So if I,
I can agree with that, but taking things out of the band shell just does not change the decibel level.
Sure it would.
no,
If it's in the band shell, it's going to be.
But a
It doesn't-
decibel is the volume, so if you bring it out, it's not gonna change the decibel
Yeah.
level, because it's gonna be the same up on the hill.
Well, it was my attempt.
Yeah.
so if I may, and look. I don't want to get stuck down in the weeds and stuff. I agree with Kerry and Brant and Joe, with you guys. However, we need to give them some type of guidance on exactly where we want this to land. And that guidance has to be reasonable for everyone. It can't be just like, well, okay, turn it down, but if that doesn't work because the folks are still being affected in a negative way, we have to come up with some type of guidance. So the first guidance we have is the decibels, what the ordinance is, and it's 85. I thought it was 65. I didn't realize it was
I
85.
thought it was
Well, it-
70.
But so that's fine.
And
So
that's
it's
fine.
80.
It's very-
So it's 85. All right. And if that's not working, then as our council president just stated, we would have to address the ordinance and we have to go through the pain and aggravation of changing the ordinance decimal. Now.
Do we have to
with-
change the ordinance?
Well,
I
I
mean,
think I think we'd be going down, listen, I think we'd be going down a little bit of a slippery slope if we stop making restrictions on our ordinances that are already in place, okay? And saying, well, yeah, it's 85, but no, for this, it's, you don't get the benefit of being 85, but everybody else does. So.
It's our concert series that we
I
can
understand
say
that.
whatever we want.
I understand that. I truly do understand that, okay? However, I think they still need some guidance. So what Joe is suggesting is, hey, you do your sound check, you get your decimal readings, and if we could turn it down a little bit, great. Let's say the decimal reading, because I have no idea, is 52. All right, let's say it's 52 at the property, because it's the property line where the decimal readings are taken. Let's say it's, just for an example, it's 52 or it's 102, okay? Then we're going to adjust. But if it's that low at the property reading, after they've done the sound check and they've turned it down, and they're still being affected negatively where, you know, I can't take this in my backyard, then maybe we're gonna have to rethink about whether or not we want to do these concerts.
But I don't think we've ever taken a decibel reading, so.
Yep, so like as Joe's saying, do your sound check on your first one. If we can make an adjustment. I don't think putting the amplifiers in or out or where, I'm not a sound engineer,
So,
okay?
so that's perfectly fine.
But that's my, this,
So the person that would be responsible for taking decibel sound level, just so we're clear, would be the sound company that we've hired.
Hmm.
So they would be responsible for going to the hill or to, the property line.
the property.
Basically walk around.
Walk
wait
around
for the first-
Yeah.
All right, no, I'm writing it down because these, I'm going to.
If you walk the perimeter of Birds Hill Park, that would be the property.
And so say we are like, so is our goal only to record these times at this point and to document the
would say-
sound levels?
For the
Or,
first-
or are we
the
adjusting
first
along?
concept, like Joe said, get it where you think it's gonna be, then turn it down a little bit, then come back to us with what the actual readings are. And then we can make an informed decision instead of just it's too loud. What is
Okay.
too loud? How do you measure that without numbers?
And make sure that your sound guy actually has a decibel reader. I don't know if that's, typical gear to have for a sound.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Because I'm
very Yeah.
aware of
Okay, so
I'm sure your sound technician.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's to give good sound. It's not
Yes.
to blast everybody out.
No.
So that's not what
Yeah.
we're trying to do.
Right, so, you know. good
And it is
faith.
it's a new vendor this year. It is not the same vendor as last year.
Now, you're realizing that we've had complaints in the past.
I don't know what you had at the.
I'm
concert
letting
series,
you
but,
know.
yes.
I was thinking maybe you would have picked that up.
Probably,
We've
but
had complaints that the concerts are too loud, louder than they need to be for the people in attendance, because you can hear them all the way uptown. So that's what this is all up of, not what you've done.
No,
This is,
And by the way, thank
letting you
you
know.
for taking the lead on this. As somebody who is a business owner, but you're not a resident. So thank you for your commitment to bettering our community.
yeah,
I appreciate it.
I started as a challenge. I think we're gonna make it, we have some family stuff coming in
Very good.
and characters for the kids and,
Town manager,
you know.
Kate?
I just want to point out one thing that the solicitor just pointed out, that the limit is actually 75, not 85.
Okay. So,
Just-
so we were in the middle. I thought it was.
I thought it was 75. I was kind of like, ooh, 85.
I thought it was.
I did want to bring up that some folks reached out to me and they asked what the remedy is. Well, maybe not the remedy. What's the process for registering dissatisfaction with the sound level? Because people have said to me, well, they've been told to call the police, and it's really not the police, their job necessarily, I don't think.
Well, sure
It
it
is.
is. It's an ordinance violation.
But they
Absolutely.
come and they say it's town sanctioned and we can't do anything about it. So
Yeah, but if they're
There's a-
violating the ordinance
Yeah,
and the
does the-
decimals,
Does the department
Yes.
have a decibel meter?
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Certified and trained.
I
But
do-
can I go on?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if we could,
Right.
if the police could handle it, they were called.
So that's what I've been told. So anyway, but I think that, again, we put this new app, the Warren Connect app, which in I think that one of the goals with that is to have trackability. Is that the right word? Sorry. But be able to track complaints and, issues. And, people have been told that they can't use the Connect app for noise complaints. So how do we track those if people want to register their dissatisfaction? And do you know where I'm going here?
So the ordinance requires, that is a police department issue, and they do track complaints. In the Warren Connect app, you can access the tip 411 process, which sends things directly to the police department in an anonymous way. Unfortunately, Warren Connect goes to either the building department or DPW. They're not going to be here on a Sunday evening to receive those complaints or respond to them. So if someone wants to use the tip 411 app, then it will go directly to the police department, or they can contact the police department directly. Again, the tip 411 is anonymous. So if someone prefers to be anonymous, that's the easiest way for them to do that. The ordinance does prescribe that the police department is the only entity that enforces the sound ordinance. If they have general complaints that don't require an immediate response, then, they're welcome to email myself or the town clerk, and we can make sure the council receives copies of complaints, but that will not result in anything immediate happening, obviously.
I think some people, again, express frustration that they're not getting heard and the complaints aren't being registered and they're not trackable. So I kind of heard that.
Yeah, the tip 411, everything is trackable as well. It's just, again, it's more of an anonymous source, I believe.
If it's 75 decibels, we can monitor it. And I'm not a sound engineer, but I work with a lot of them. And it's a master volume that they just turn down a little.
That's what I was thinking.
And you have the monitor and you stay within it. So
I want to ask Chief, in the past, have we received complaints? And if we have we investigated them, and what were the readings?
I can't recall them.
Okay, is there a way you could possibly search that and get us that information for next month?
I mean, I can tell you, I've definitely received complaints last year. I forwarded them to Tara.
No, I mean, if we actually got any response from the police responding and taking readings to see if maybe there was something, maybe there would be a report that would say it was this many decibels, at least let us know where we were then or where we're going now. Okay, so how do we want to address this? Do we want to do a motion to?
Yeah, I think there's people in the public.
Yeah.
Okay,
alright.
sorry.
But just to recap, what I want to, so to Steve's point, I just want to make sure that the process that we will be following is the process that you guys are also wanting us to follow.
Okay.
And so that's basically just that, as the concert starts, so they start June 10th, I think it's
July.
July 10th. We will start doing these decimal level readings. We'll record that information
at sound check.
At sound check. And then we'll record that and then bring that back to the council. Is that what you
Yes.
want?
the
For the,
information, yeah,
so it won't be for the July meeting, it wouldn't be until the August meeting.
correct.
So
And actually, when you get it, if you could get it to the town manager or the clerk, at least she could email it out to us.
Yes, thank you.
And we'd be able to see, we'd get the report in real time or close to real time.
I think it's really important, though, that if you're working with you'll be at all of the events, that you work directly with the sound engineer and let them know.
We just
that-
tell them to turn it down. I do it
But
all
just
the time.
let them know that the noise level has been an issue with the
Right.
surrounding community and that they need to be aware of that fact and be willing to keep it in check.
Right.
Ms. McCarthy, what I
Yes.
was even gonna go as far as to recommend is if you're at 75 and you can even go lower and still feel that everybody there is having a good time,
Right.
this is what we're trying to achieve.
I agree with you.
This isn't.
It's a good point.
I'm not trying to make this, because we could revoke it. That's not what I want to do. But
Mhm.
ultimately, if it were a problem, we could resolve the problem.
Right.
There wouldn't be a problem because it doesn't exist. That's not what my intention at all. So, this isn't about the legality of it, 75 decibels. You can make it sound good at 50, great. And then you're trying to do the best you can if people still, can hear it. At least we're trying. I mean, I don't know what you can do with that.
and then we'll also have the data.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, so, I mean, but my point, I don't want you to just have, all right, we're at 75, that's it, there it is.
No, I
It could be, I don't even know what 50 sounds like, but
Me
if it
neither.
did, that would be great, right? Kudos to you. Have a good performance and as soft as possible, or as loud as, needed.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that wants to come up and talk? Please come up, state your name.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Everyone, hello.
How are you?
Hi, good. Steve Thompson, 51 Broad Street. Listen, I submitted a letter last month. I was unfortunately away at a conference and I couldn't attend the meeting. The sound issue from the concert series is a real problem. It's not it seems to be amusing to several of you guys. I find that kind of frustrating, to be perfectly honest with you. I am in favor of the summer concert series. I served on the council for 4 years. I know it's very important to members of the community. Nobody is asking anybody to change that. I think that was suggested last month. I find that just kind of bizarre that would even came up. That was certainly not my intent. I don't think it was the intent of anybody here who is concerned about the noise issue. The fact is, look, I work like pretty much everyone in this place here tonight. I'm off on the weekends. I just like to enjoy my property. I like to sit outside Sunday afternoon, adult beverage, whatever, have a nice afternoon. From 4 until 8 p.m., the sound from these concerts is quite loud. And yes, it is bothersome and a nuisance. And I think, as you know, Council Vice President Kalenda, from serving as the chair of the zoning board, when a very similar issue was addressed a few years ago with Blount, Fine Foods, sound can get very finicky and very complicated very fast. And so to Council President Hanley's point that you live very close nearby and it doesn't affect you or it isn't as intense, well, I can tell you firsthand where I live, it's intense. And in fact, I have a recording, several recordings of the concerts that I'd like to play for a moment here from my street. And I think this is an example of a problem. This is at Broad and Linden Street at St. Mark's. I live 5 blocks from Burris Hill. That's recorded with my phone, no fancy Technics or anything like that. That's what it's like in my backyard from 4 until 8 p.m. I am asking, and I appreciate members of the council taking this seriously, that we just lower the volume. And I don't think it has to be a complicated thing. I don't think it has to be a technical thing. It can even be a low cost, no cost thing. But I think it should be taken seriously. For 8 consecutive weeks, from July until Labor Day, this is what.
8 days. It's 8 days.
8 Sundays, that's
8 Sundays.
correct. Yes, that's a lot. 4
Okay.
hours.
It used to be 10, but they shortened it to 8.
That may be the case, but it's,
I'm sorry. It starts at 5. Yeah, I'm guessing the 4 o'clock thing is probably the sound.
right,
check.
there's a sound check.
Yeah, they're
It
doing
doesn't
sound
just,
check.
there's not just a button that's flicked and it.
They don't do a sound check?
Right.
Maybe it was
Okay.
last year, so, okay.
Sunday afternoon, late afternoon.
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's, I find it frustrating as a resident. This council, again, I served as part of it. We were always very conservative and respectful of property rights. This is a property rights issue. I am a resident of this town. I want to enjoy my property. I don't want to have to listen to a concert that's 5 blocks away come and inundate my property. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable. I think the two can coexist. And
So what would your solution be?
my solution would be to lower the volume
Until you couldn't hear it at all at your street
so
corner?
that people can enjoy it at the concert and that people
Because I'm
are.
just asking what's
Yeah, no,
reasonable.
I think
Yeah.
it's,
And
you know,
then
this issue about, I think the thing that's frustrating about this for me, if I can just finish, is I think we all know that this noise ordinance thing is a little bit of it's difficult to apply here because like, okay, yes, it's 75 decibels. But I just played a recording. I have 6 other recordings of on my street, these concerts. And I don't think it serves a problem. And firsthand, Steve, like,
I'm agreeing with you 100%.
well, I don't know if you are, because when I hear these conversations and you guys are up here laughing, like, I don't, I find that offensive. And you're kind of laughing now. Like, is this a joke? It's not a joke to me. It's.
If you did hear our discussion, we did instruct.
I understand that, but there's also.
We have to try things. We can't.
I understand that.
Answer. So with this, will give us the answer. That's why I want the response.
Totally agree with you, John. I think that that's appropriate, but I think that I don't get the sense that this is being taken seriously is my concern. And I find that frustrating by at least some of the members of the council.
So I have a very straightforward question.
Sure.
Simple. If it wasn't a concert series, it was somebody in their backyard that was playing.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
Okay. And you could hear it the same, and they were within the decimal volumes of the town ordinance. What would you suggest we do?
I would call I would register a noise complaint.
Okay.
I think
And the noise complaint is investigated.
Yep.
And it's found that they're within the decimals.
Yep.
You're still going to get frustrated. You're still going to hear it. So,
But
yeah,
I think.
Try to stay focused on.
Well, and I think it's,
what we're-
and it's a
what we're talking-
legitimate question. I think the difference here is, Steve, is that this is a town sanctioned event and there are more people that live in town than the people that just attend these concerts. And I think the whole point here is that the concert series can go on. It can be enjoyed by the people that enjoy it. The people that organize it do a great job with it. That's not what I'm here to talk about. It's like, it doesn't have to then spill into the rest of the community. That's all.
I think the sound's going to travel no matter what you do.
Yeah, all right, well, we're trying to
Yeah.
work on a solution, but we need.
I appreciate that.
We need the data to find out exactly possibly what the solution would be. Maybe what we instructed them to do may solve the problem. It may not.
It might, yes.
But that's the first step. Other than that, I don't know any other path we can.
And I do
take.
just have one more point. So what
don't
I
know
suggested,
any other path we could take it this time without knowing that data or the results of what we just instructed them to do. Maybe on July 10th, when we get the data, we'll say, oh yeah, right, this didn't work. But until that happens, I don't know, because I don't have the data of what the noise level technically was last year. That's why I asked the chief if he had any complaints, if they took any readings. So if we get more information, maybe we'll have more of a solution, but at this point, I don't know if there's much else we can do.
The last thing I'll say, if I may, is that thanks, and you were the chair of the zoning board at the time, Steve. You guys did a really good job
and that
handling
was
the
my
bond
suggestion
issue.
to make the case, to do
And,
the same thing.
that problem was completely resolved. And I have to tell you, there is not one single issue with that since that remedy went into place. So there's clearly a solution here that Blount coexists. They're one of the most successful businesses in town. They play music all the time. So clearly this is a solvable problem. Neighbors can coexist, Blount can succeed, everybody's happy. Summer concert series can go on, everybody's happy.
Okay.
So
Thank
that's
you.
all I'm asking. Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate it.
Please come up and state your name.
Nick Haywood. I'm just because it didn't come up in my partner's comments. I had no idea this concert series existed until 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't know it existed. So that says something. I understand what everyone is saying. I honestly, it's great. Do the concert series. I didn't know it existed until 3 or 4 years ago. And the reason I know it exists now is because it makes my life really difficult. So clearly there's a thing that works, that's the concert series, and there's a thing that doesn't work, that is a concert series. So whatever was happening 4 years ago didn't impact me whatsoever. I don't know what was wrong with that, but seems like that is achievable again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Pat Muse, 47 Broad Street. I can do a lot of things on the computer, but working with a Google map is not one of my fortes. But I did a map. This is Water Street. This is Main Street. And these are the where everybody lives except for Mr. Kalenda, who lives way out here. So I couldn't do this if I put him on because, and this is the band shell. So the person closest to the band shell involved in this is Sarah Weed. The person second closest to the band shell is Aubrey Atwater, who spoke last time. You are in fact the third, not the first, not the most.
When I misstated, I meant members of the board.
Okay. Then we get up here and we have Julie Blount, who spoke. Here we have Stephen and Nikki and myself. Then we get up here to State Street and that's where Brent lives. We get up here and that's where Carrie lives and that's where Joe lives. So if you notice, all of us who we're talking about this live in this one long funnel. Okay, this here is the band shell. Now, band shells were designed to be tall and to throw sound, not to throw it straight out, straight that way, but to throw it. And that's what it's doing. It's throwing it to all of our houses. So you turn it down, it doesn't stop it. And when you're amplifying it, it throws it further. So you don't hear it because you're outside of the zone.
And I'm the only house on that map that doesn't have a hill between me and the band shell. I don't say I don't hear it. I'm saying it doesn't bother me.
Right, because it's throwing it over the hill. It's throwing it that high. You think that we're all making this up. That is what makes me crazy about this. This is terrible when it happens. We're trying to have a nice Sunday afternoon, and suddenly, God knows what we're listening to, but you heard Stephen's tape. That's what it sounds like. It's like somebody is parked in your backyard with their radio turned up as loud as it will go. And you can't do anything about it. And this town is sanctioning it. We have a right. There's a noise ordinance. It's not just decibels. It says that we have the right to quality of life with decent sound. I read it last time I was here. And you can all go look it up if you want. That says we don't have to put up with crap like this from the town. I mean, if it was a neighbor, I'd go over and I'd say, would you please turn it down? And a neighbor would be nicer than the town has been about this. So I think there also has to be a way that we can respond to what happens. Maybe we can talk to the person who's handling the sound that Sunday. And we can say, this is no quieter. We can call them or we can go down there. But to just say, well, we'll see. And then, I mean, this is 8 weeks. That's most of the summer. It's not just a few times. It's really, really, really. And the thing that bothers me the most is we know it's going to come every week. And I try to be a calm person, but I think, oh shit, we're going to hear that. It's going to be coming, and it always is. So please give us some way to respond to this. I emailed Kate a number of times and she said, well, call the police. The police come and they say it's within the decibels. Well, then stand in my backyard and listen to it for 3 hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to speak? Okay, I think we have, we already told Tara what we would like to do. Is there anything else?
You want to hear the report from the manager on the 7,000? We instructed her.
No, I don't think that.
Okay.
Discussing the email we got from Kate with the cost of the sound engineer.
I had only sent that to you.
Oh,
If
okay.
you want me to discuss it.
Kate did look into, she did contact Mr. Blount, I believe,
I contacted the sound engineer that worked for Blount.
and the cost would be between $7,000 and $8,000.
It was,
Just to tell us what, that's just to tell us what the issue is.
right, well, he said the initial step would be basically what we were just talking about. He would come down during a performance and take measurements. That stage of the process for the Blount application back in, I think it was 2018, that was $8,800. So for the Blount property. So he couldn't give me, obviously, he doesn't know our site. He couldn't give me an exact price, but just to tell me what the process is, that's the initial step with his particular company.
We did look into that.
Right, I was aware of the cost, so I'm still gonna be optimistic and hopeful that if we turn it down, it will be turned down. The volume is literally decreased. It's not going to be as loud. Everybody has heard opposition. No one up here is, I feel, trying to ignore the reality because I hear it and I put this on the agenda. It's important to me that people who live here feel it's a quality of life. So it's a quality of life issue. And I don't think we have to beat this horse to death.
No, and I think we've
At this
instructed
point.
Tara, and the chief is gonna come back with information if there's any reports in the past and what that is. And Tara's gonna turn it down and then give us.
And like Mr. Hayward said, 4 years ago.
Well, so that was gonna be one of the points that I brought up. To be honest with you, it's the same bands. It's the same setup or same.
Wasn't it a new sound person?
It was a new sound person last year. That person
Alright,
is
so
not going,
maybe-
but the bands are still the same bands that are coming.
Sound person.
Yeah.
Right. So, obviously we can do it.
Yeah, the way, I think,
Yeah.
I think we're on a path to try to solve this.
It's doable.
I hope so.
Okay, all right.
It is.
so I don't think we need a
Anything
motion
is
for that,
doable.
do we just instructed them how we would like them to proceed and report back to us.
Yes. And then I will bring you back that information for the August meeting, but I will
Yes,
I'll
they
get
can
the
get it.
information to Kate.
She'll send it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just one question, Terry, you brought this up. There was some confusion about whether you should go ahead and lower the sound based on what you're hearing.
Comfort, yeah.
At that time, at that first concert.
Right. So that was one of the discussions that we
Okay,
had.
just to make sure that they.
Right,
they'll
so-
Take that.
So even if the decimal level is at 75, to bring it down
To reasonable.
to a reasonable level, to a good faith attempt.
Thank you, okay, just making sure, that's, I'm wanna. clarify.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Dobbin, stand up. Please come forward.
Mark Dobbin, Liberty Street. Sorry to belabor the discussion further. I don't have a strong feeling either way, but just wanted to say a good working relationship with a sound engineer goes a long way. He can control whether it's a really loud rock concert or a medium loud rock concert, and just like leaving him in charge of it and making sure that he is directed to get it to a level that is loud enough for people in the field to feel like it's fun and not so loud that everyone outside those blocks is also having a rock concert in their backyard. I also think focusing on the 75 decibels is not relevant. That's what, if it goes above that, you can be written a citation by the police, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about balancing some people having fun versus some people not having fun. So it's more just about what that level is where there's sort of a balance there. So I think taking decibel readings at the sound board is the best way to do it, because the sound engineer puts himself in the best place in the field to hear and monitor how everything's balanced for him and for the crowd. And then you can come to him and say, hey, it needs to come down about 15% or 20%. And then he can adjust, check his levels, and then sort of strike that equilibrium. But I think getting the cops walking around and taking decibel readings and getting, the edge of the property line is not, it might be more data than is going to be helpful. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda is from the solicitor, discussion and action on the letter from attorney Brian Cuner.
Mr. President, our suggestion would be a motion to deny this claim, motion to send to the trust. In addition, have our office contact the trust to see who notifies the plaintiff's attorney that the responsible party is the state, not the town of Warren.
We have a motion to deny and refer to the.
Second.
And the solicitor to contact the attorney. We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have finance director, Fung, how are you?
Hey, Fun.
Fung,
you.
please do
Good
not
evening.
exceed 75 decibels when you're talking.
Okay.
I don't think we're in
I
favor.
thought I'm in negative 75 already.
Okay,
Keeping the lights on,
More than that, yes, too.
very good.
pay the bills.
Any
Data.
questions?
No, any questions from the council?
No.
Thank
other
you,
than
Fun.
we've appreciated if you saw something that was amiss and brought it to our attention, obviously, we know you'd do that, but I'm just mentioning.
Yep, next month, we'll have more to discuss.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Public Works Director. Transfer station fee schedule. Did we already do that, or is this the second part of it?
This would be the actual changes to the cost. So the first one's the ordinance, this one's.
Okay.
Alright. So this is just changing the current prices that we have now, for July 1 to raise them to stay kind of in path with what we have been in the past. With the landfill raising their prices, we've kind of, that number's been shrinking and we haven't really changed. So I'm trying to bring it back to where we used to be to help offset some of the costs that we do have. Our tipping fees are going up, everything's going up, so the more we can kind of bring that number closer to that, the better, but as you mentioned, we're not making money. We're always losing money in that area, so we're just trying to stay afloat.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate Councilman Di Pasquale's concern on that, and the public might feel that we're being excessive in these rates, but we may even be losing money, and we're definitely not making money on this, and we'd hope to be neutral on it is the goal, but so probably not.
Right, I mean, we lose a lot when you start looking at what we have, what we budget. But obviously COVID years were even worse. We were about 75,000 from what we budgeted to what we had. You like to think that what you're budgeting is kind of being paid for from the year before, in theory, when you're looking at your tipping fees to what you're bringing in. It doesn't match up. It's not even close, not to mention the cost of running the place as well as fixing the trucks. And we all know, as we sit here, that a trailer is over 100,000 now, whereas it used to be 70. So we're just trying to bring the numbers down and quite frankly, reduce how much trash we're bringing in because, as we go over the cap now going forward, it's going to be commercial rates for us, whereas before we had a different number. So we're trying to bring that number down from what we're actually bringing in outside of curbside pickup. So it's like we said, it's convenience, but it's not necessarily beneficial to the town. Recycling beneficial, trash not. So
Do you?
Yep.
Good.
I was just gonna ask how these new rates line up with others in the area?
So some of the others in the area do not accept commercial trash at all. We're the only one right now over here. I have talked to, I believe it was Charleston. I talked to them the other day. Their commercial rates are about the same. They're 305 for their commercial. So 300, we're right there with them. But it's just, commercial does not help us. So it's constantly bringing in trash. It's not bringing in recycling. Whereas at least residential, we tend to bring in recycling to offset some of that trash.
How much what do tires cost us to dispose of?
So they used to cost, the smaller tires used to cost $250. They're up to $5. We never had a price for the other tires. So we only accepted a car tire. Who we use now has a list of what they accept. So we kind of based our prices off of where we are right now and kind of kept that the same. So
One of my concerns is mosquitoes. And I've noticed people that have the space actually have a lot of old tires. And they're putting off this problem because they now have accumulated $100 worth of tires or $200 worth of tires. Or in some cases, I know people with enough space with a lot of tires. I'm curious if there's any relief we can get and have an amnesty. A one day, try to collect as many tires. I can't remember what the mosquito count was once when I heard out of a tire, but a tire holding water without a rim can produce 500,000 mosquitoes in one summer. Maybe Ed remembers those numbers.
We could show that, that's actually a property maintenance code violation.
Right, we have had violations based on tires.
For storage of tires.
Well, I'm trying to figure out a cost that if we did have
So-
one day of trying to do a cleanup.
Tires used to be
and then it needs
$2.50.
these
They're
adjustments.
$5 for us to, so at the moment right now, a regular car tire is $5 for us to dispose. Whereas a month ago it was $2.50. So, you know, that number changed. That's why we are suggesting going to $7.50, because currently we charge $5 for a car tire. Like I said, we don't actually accept any other sizes at the moment. But with our contractor that we use, they do accept bigger. So we're giving the option, but just giving a price associated to it.
Yeah, so if you were to have a program like that, there would be a cost associated with it. And I would think you'd want to set hard limits because you wouldn't want people.
We don't want any of these big loader tires that
Well,
cost
right.
$500.
You also wouldn't want people who are residents, maybe who have a cousin who lives in another town, who has a bunch of tires they want to get rid of, and now they say, okay, well, hey, you got an amnesty day, why don't you take my 12 tires and go drop them off for me?
That's true.
There could be a lot of cost if you got into something like that, because there is no community that does this for free. I researched that a couple years ago. There's nobody that takes tires for free because you're losing, because there's a cost to the municipalities.
See, a lot of the ones that are out there are back when people would do tires themselves. Now, because of the cost, when you go and get a set, you don't get them. So some of the places I know of have land and there are tires out there.
If you go get your tires changed now at a shop, they charge you tire
Maybe we
disposal.
could give them a month of amnesty to get rid of them themselves before we cite them.
Well, you'd never find them, that's what I'm saying. The places that I know of are just, they're just there. Yeah, thanks.
We'll never find them. What are you gonna keep them secret?
You'd be surprised if you walk around.
I have a question on here, the residential stickers.
Yep.
Do Barrington and Bristol offer any, I'm pretty sure Bristol offers a certain amount of weight for free for residents.
I'm honestly not positive what they do. We were at 400 this year, but the original plan that I kind of
Last year
inherited
it phases out.
was to phase it out. So we kind of were sticking with that plan.
I
I didn't want to go less than 400. So if you wanted to keep it at 400,
Well, I wouldn't, I have a problem with taking it all away. It's not a ton of weight. And it's a service for the residents. It's not, we're not supposed to make money. So if 400 pounds, it's, one, you clean your garage out once a year or something like that. I enjoy it.
What are the costs? Do you have the number?
Oh, if your max is 400 pounds and we're paying.
No, do we know how many, because we should know how many stickers.
Oh, yeah, how many
stickers we've sold?
Do we have how much weight came in under
Well,
the stickers?
yeah, it's not the stickers sold, because those are for
Yeah.
the beach. So
How much weight came in under the free dump?
it's probably under my other spreadsheet that I don't have with me.
That's all, yeah.
I would also, know.
I do actually, no, so this is above that. So I'd have to come back to you, but on top of that, we've gone 188 tons. So that's from the sticker program. People that have gone over their 400 pounds this year have already gone up to 188.
Right, but after the 400, they pay.
Correct. And we sold about 800 tickets.
Yeah.
Just
Right,
over
so that's what we were looking at.
Yeah,
Then you can put a
So if
monetary
you sold
cost.
800 tickets, 400 pounds, what's that? 320,000 pounds, the max? What?
408.
We don't have phone.
32.
Yes, okay.
I would note that one change that Brian is recommending might solve some of the complaints that we've received, and that is to allow for free bagged yard waste drop off, whereas we were weighing it before. There would be limits. It's not like you could bring everything all at once, but to restore some of that free tonnage for the yard waste for the drop off.
What's the methodology for the bag?
Keeps it contained more at the landfill.
It's easier for us,
biodegradable.
and it'll keep commercial. A lot of times it'll keep commercial out.
They won't bag it, they just-
Most commercial businesses don't want to bag it, and that was kind of one of the big issues, I think, originally. It helps, it helps break things down, everything together in those bags, like the bags we use are actually pretty good. You add that, some other materials, and it helps break it down.
Yeah, people would come in with trailers and tarps, right? And so there was not much of a control on it. I think that's the issue. seemingly.
Now, did we had a limit on 400 pounds that was of trash, or was that combination trash and yard?
That was both.
I'd like, I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I'd like to keep that 400. It's just a small little token to the.
I'd like to just know the number. I mean, we
Yeah.
can get the math.
Yeah, well, do we want to continue this till next month, or do we want to approve everything except eliminating the residential sticker at this time?
Sure.
Can we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve everything presented by the Director of Public Works except for the elimination of the residential stickers till next month. Now, I have a logistical question on that. Yes, we're still fine because the stickers don't expire till July 1, so we'll have time to decide whether we're gonna do it or not. Okay. We have a motion and we have a second. A motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Discussion and action regarding the sale of surplus vehicles. Any questions from the council? I mean, it's pretty, there is an added vehicle that was on your, it was on the desk when we came in. I think he added a Ford Taurus Interceptor.
Correct.
That's the one the building official used to get when it was just on its way to the junkyard. They'd slap your sticker on the side of it and you got it.
And we'd like to utilize the municipal bid website to get a greater reach.
Did you mean to reduce the price of the ambulance from 15 to 10?
Yes, that's to hopefully present a bidding war when you get to some of those sites.
Okay.
There is already some interest in some of these vehicles, so we think we'll be all right with it.
So I guess we would need a motion to allow to use municipal bid for the vehicle listed by the Director of DPW. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, this one here. And why is this? Well, we're gonna get into that, 9 o'clock, all right. Remember, we gotta be out of here by 11.
So there's a couple reasons why we were looking into this. One, it'll help out our contractors. I'll start with my personal reason why I think if we move some of these dates around, we receive a lot of complaints regularly about the downtown and the Market Street and Child Street entrances to town with trash bags being out early, trash barrels being out early. So when you have people visiting town over the weekend, we tend to get a lot of this trash barrels already out for the Monday pickup. By moving Monday's route to Wednesday, that would alleviate that problem. They wouldn't be out on a Monday or Saturday and Sunday, because if they are, well, they have bigger issues.
So who's gonna go to Monday?
So Friday's route, which is the largest route we have, heaviest route, takes the most time, we'll move to Monday. So if there's an issue with any of that route, they have 4 more days to catch up to it. Our easiest route will move to Friday so that when we do have Saturday pickup.
Which route's being moved to Friday?
The whole list.
It's all right
Yeah.
here.
Oh, crap. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
You should-
Thursday's route would move to Friday, which has been primarily our.
No, I don't
lightest.
have it. Do I have it? Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I didn't get there. Yeah.
Friday goes to Monday, Monday moves on Friday, Wednesday's on Thursday.
Who's on first?
And there was 9 streets that would move from Friday to the new Wednesday. route.
You're moving my routes from Thursday?
Are
You out of your mind?
Mine goes from Wednesday to Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think
Now-
because we just got this, we didn't see this list before tonight. Anybody? You want to, can we continue this to next month?
Are you gonna move me to Friday? You wanna move me to
Well,
Friday?
I mean, but it's been a pretty big list.
What do you could do? Like pick out streets? I mean, these are
No,
routes.
I just don't.
People are gonna lose their minds. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to lose their
That's
ever
kind of
loving
what I was
minds,
trying
which
to
is
do. Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's kind of what I was trying to do.
This,
You have to
this
jump in.
makes sense. This is gonna relieve stuff. People are just gonna have to get with the program. Everybody's trash day is changing.
And the plan is to
Whatever.
start at July 10th, which would be after the holiday weekend. So we're starting on a fresh week in July, and then we'll have 2 months from now.
Do you think you had a few folks in here talking about the noise of the concert? Wait till this hits the public.
I realize.
They're
that.
gonna hang you and burn you in effigy.
I have a question, serious question.
Yep.
Are we going to put signage on people's barrels?
So we're looking at numerous different options on how we can do it, whether it's a mailer to every house with this, or if it's something similar to
And
that. So,
can we have the trash guys put,
yeah,
can we?
I mean,
tell
we
the
can-
company?
All right, so
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah,
these are all
but-
options that we've been
Possibly set it up
looking
with
at.
tax bill, but that won't come out.
Well, they put the hand, you know, the tag with the handle.
Yep.
No, I know, yeah. So we're trying to change the route that affects Monday because they're coming out on Sunday.
Well, that's one reason. So it's gonna so Monday and Tuesday routes have primarily been the complaint that the barrels go out early and then people
So
complain.
who's
that-
complaining?
We get a lot of residential complaints that, you know, you're bringing in all these tourists to the town to eat on the weekend, but there's trash barrels in. So in order to get rid of that, you put those in different days so they're not around that time frame. Now,
Because, it's not the people that are putting their trash out. You're saying other folks are complaining about the barrels being out.
correct, the people that put it out, they don't.
Yeah, I mean,
And it becomes an enforcement issue. It's hard. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to have the police knocking on doors on a Saturday telling people to move their trash barrels.
Yeah,
We don't
because
have
what is it?
anybody.
Our
that can-
ordinance, you can't put it out any earlier than 24 hours. So
So-
you think they're going out on Saturday?
We know they are, and it's Saturdays and Sundays, we know they are, we get pictures, Child Street primarily gets a lot of it. Even with this, I think you'll see. there'll
There's
be
some
other-
places where they're keeping the barrels on the sidewalks, and I've had people complain and. We had
Well,
to
those are
finally
all-
send
And
an
then-
building official over there.
This was also in talks with
I know,
the
but I'm
contractor.
saying It was, they never brought them in. They would actually store their barrels on the sidewalk.
The contractor did want to move this around as well because it'll help their routes. Like having Friday as our heaviest route becomes an issue when there's a truck down or
Yep.
anything, or even on a holiday. When we push that Friday to Saturday, they're out till 7, 8 o'clock on a Friday. So it'll just help them as well as us because now we'll actually be able to collect all of our trash on the Saturday.
Finishing a route at 7 to 8 o'clock.
Friday nights routes can go that late, yes,
Wow.
especially on a
I'm
recycle.
surprised I never heard about that.
So the
Well,
down,
if they're doing a double pickup like Thursday was trash and recyclables, they run late.
Yeah, and by moving a couple of those streets, it'll help.
So I thought my route was the largest route. So you're saying Friday, not the Thursday route is the largest.
Friday's a lot,
Friday's the
Thursday is one of
largest.
the easier ones, actually, sorry.
No, I just, because I go by, I know what time they come down my street. You know.
All
I
right,
think
motion to approve. Get
Yeah.
a good advertisement. plan in
Motion,
place.
yeah, motion to approve and direct the town manager to come up with some plans, several plans to
On the barrel.
put a warning shot over the bow of the people who are changing.
People are gonna lose their.
Can,
Yeah, everybody's
Before
changing.
Mr. Wheeler goes away,
this is front row,
I think
front
we've got one more
page,
thing on.
above the.
No, that was it.
News article.
Curbside pickup route schedule.
Okay,
That's it.
all right, so we got a motion to approve. And direct the town manager to figure out some way to keep all hell from breaking. Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
And you have
good
a
luck.
second?
I already told Brian that he owes Denise a coffee.
not on this.
She's already gotten wind of this, so.
Okay, Frank, you have a question for Brian?
Yes, it's off agenda, but is there a reason the Christmas lights are still up on Water Street?
Rental of the bucket truck, yes. We haven't been able to get a bucket truck rental.
Okay.
Oh, and the lights on Water Street still on? Or,
Well,
so that was a test.
I saw him on the other night. It looked good.
That was a test. Other communities have done
I
that.
asked them to stay on. I thought that was because of me.
Well, so other communities have done that for their outdoor dining. So that's really up to the
Think you
fancy
should
of the
get a
council,
permit?
but no one has actually complained yet.
Okay.
So I didn't know if.
I just-
I'm trying to see how long we can get away. with it.
So there's a consensus that maybe you like it and so.
Because they're not exactly the most Christmassy, you know, a lot of communities do it, so.
As long as there's, we sort of phase them out by, sort of early fall, because then it sort of ruins the whole magic of turning them on for the holidays.
Yeah.
We'll turn them off at Christmas.
And then we'll turn it back.
Well,
Yeah. All right, she's waiting.
Okay, next we have the rec director.
And I would be very happy if he's in the paper instead of me.
Hey, you're a frequent flyer.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's his turn.
Oh,
So I think we're ready for the trash.
First, we have the request permission to overexpend the rec director's salary account not to exceed $6,000 offset by the lifeguards.
So both of these are just adjustments that the money will be transferred within our department
Okay,
for both accounts.
So moved.
motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the next one is basically just an overspend by switching account from parking and maintenance salary to offset by the recreation staff.
Yes.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion to adjourn.